Hi, everyone. My name is Justin Odisho. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. On today's episode, we have Philip D'Amico. He runs a YouTube channel called Volksgeist, where he does a lot of independent music journalism, specifically documentary style and video essay style videos. He's been able to accumulate almost 300,000 subscribers, get tens of millions of views on his content, all as a kind of independent, young, and self-interested and taught guy. So we get into, in this conversation, a ton about the business behind YouTube, monetizing and sustaining a small channel, how he figures out what topics, what he's done to grow. So without further ado, enjoy the conversation. Thanks for coming on. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. I think it's like I'm really happy to be here because obviously but other people don't know that I used like your tutorials when I was first starting out. So I remember sending you a DM like 2 years ago, being like, "Yo, I love your tutorials. I just hit 10,000 subscribers," and I was really happy when you replied. So I'm like happy to be here as well.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. I don't even remember that, but it's crazy how like 10,000 now you're like 300,000. It's crazy what pops up in the DMs.
Yeah.
Um, have you gotten any DMs like that from other people who have become collaborators of yours or friends?
Yeah, I did get a DM recently from, I get a lot of like terrible DMs that are like, "Yo, listen to my music," and it's horrible music. But I
Uh-oh.
got, I got a DM from someone who sent me their song, and it was such a good song. And I'm gonna like probably at some point make a music video for her for free or something like that because it's like I'm just really happy that can meet someone who makes such good music and they appreciate my work too. But usually it's some bullshit, I think, most of the time. It's
Well, I
like
think yeah, it's like what? It's just
it's
someone.
just usually awful.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you cover a lot of music related topics, so I'm sure your demographic is probably skews younger. I mean, young people like music, right? Everyone likes music, but you cover specifically like popular culture music, I would say.
Yeah, I think they skew younger, but it's like most of them, it's like 40% 18 to 24 and then 40% 25 to like 36 or whatever. So
Yeah.
the under 18s are like not really there. There's not really a whole lot of people that are in high school or anything.
Unless they probably just, I feel like they just lie about their YouTube accounts so they can
Maybe,
lot
yeah.
so you can listen to songs with swearing. But
Yeah, true.
but yeah, I mean, YouTube unlocks so many cool opportunities for me. I mean, you're just one of many cool, interesting creators that I've met. That I mean, yeah, you do get some stuff in the DM that's like, all right, this guy sends me his like weird edit every single day. I don't know what he wants, but um, but then you do get some stuff where it lets you find channels or content or artists that you never might have found and able to collaborate with them. But how did you even get started on YouTube in the first place?
Well, I realized early on that like I had to talk about something, like talking or rambling wasn't gonna. Sorry, I was checking my levels.
You're good. Sounds good.
I realized early on that like rambling wasn't gonna be a sustainable business model, and if I wanted to get views, I had to like figure out a subject to discuss and like make that my thing and become knowledgeable about that. So that was like the biggest lesson that I went in with, like, oh, I have to have an expertise of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I figured it would be art in general, but the community of people who appreciate art as a general topic is very small. And it's either you're into like visual art or movies or music, and you're not into all three at the same time, at least not at like a high level. So I just eventually settled on music because it was like my number one interest at the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say that that's one thing I was gonna mention is like when you're talking about music journalism, in the past you have these publications and these magazines where it probably was a lot more of gatekeepers. And I was gonna ask, like, so you're just a kid that's interested in music, but what? So nobody gave you the permission or authority to like sit here and discuss music, and yet people still have kind of gathered to it. Why do you think people care about your opinion over anyone else's? Or
I've also like that was the second lesson I learned is that you have to offer some sort of value proposition. So like unless what you're saying answers a question, no one's really going to be that dedicated to listening to it if you're just a nobody. Like my number one objective for a while has been to like give meaningful information or like answer questions. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you give like a meaningful answer that like makes someone feel like they learned something, they're gonna start listening to you and viewing you as someone like a position of authority on that subject. So like that was something that was really important was like not just going in and saying like, hey, this is what I thought of the new Daft Punk album. Instead, I would be like, this is how Daft Punk design their synths. If you want to know about synths, if you're a musician, like I can tell you. Um, and that was really important. I think if I went in and like started reviewing stuff or pretending to be a critic or something, I would probably still be stuck at like 35,000 subs after 3 years. But I have like almost 10 times that now. So
Yeah, I think that's really true because none of us on YouTube really like have with any sort of authority have like been given it down from someone. It's just for myself personally, like I have the skills of knowing the software, and I just so happen to be the I learned how to like teach decently, and I just so happen to have a topic on every single topic. So
yep.
like I'm not claiming to have edited Hollywood feature length films, but and that's one thing I found with your channel too is like I don't think, yeah, I'm not necessarily going into it for your specific to learn what's good or bad, but you're telling me how this album was created, who worked on it, things like that. So it's more like journalistic. Um, I'm watching on, or I'm seeing on Social Blade like what happened in the summer of 2018. Is that the time where you're talking about where you kind of like,
So in summer of 2018, that was like the turning point. I was not putting a lot of time into my videos before that. I had multiple jobs. I was also a college student and I wasn't like making money. It was impossible to make money because I was monetized, but every video would get demonetized, right? Like I'd put a clip of a song in, it gets copyright claimed. The company says, okay, you can't have any money. We're taking all the money from this video. I'm like, all right, this is just a fun hobby. I'm not really getting anything out of it except nice comments and like $50 on Patreon every month.
yeah,
So I'm getting ready to like throw in my towel. I'm like, all right, I want to pick a degree path. I'm gonna like get a better job and screw YouTube. It was fun. I have like 10,000 subs. Um, I make like three last videos, one about gorillas, one about Kanye, one about Anthony Fantano, because at the time I kind of like took his opinion seriously, like a lot of music listeners do, and I wanted to like analyze. He doesn't give perfect scores out ever. What do you have to do to get the perfect score? So I make the video, and he tweets it out. He follows me on social media, and he like DMs me whatever. He retweets it, and if I get like 15,000 subs in a weekend, and the video
wow,
makes money, which is also a huge surprise. And so, it turned from like a hobby into a small business in a day. And then after that, I got signed to an agency and started making like sponsorship money. And it was just a huge change in a matter of like 2 months. I think I gained 30,000 subs in that 2 month period.
yeah, that's a huge break. For a last ditch effort. And so, I wouldn't say that your channel is small. Like 250,000 subscribers is definitely not small. It seems like nowadays, though, that's like your average small business type of channel.
It
Uh,
is, it does feel small, but I think in some ways, my subscribers seem to be like more valuable or more active than other channels that have a similar amount of subscribers. And I think I do like in terms of revenue, I think I make a bit more than the average channel with this amount of subscribers. So
I was gonna say you said like the way that you worded it, like sustainable. So like obviously that one video popped off, and that's a glimpse of potential, but how did you go from catching that like good break to making it sustainable? You said you got signed to some content agency or something.
Yes. So first, I got signed. I think that big break happens in July,
Yeah.
and then in September I get signed. So between then, I was I was like, what was it? I was trying to figure out what I should do. Like, my videos were all over the place at the time, so it was really hard to build a sustainable and like dedicated subscriber base. Um, and I was covering like anything and everything, paintings, movies. The videos are all taken down now, but it had no real niche. And so what I did was I chose a specific niche. I chose hip hop. I'm gonna cover hip hop, Kanye West, Kendrick Lamar, Macklemore, whatever it is. I didn't do Macklemore, but I chose hip hop and started pursuing that, and that started to work out because hip hop fans are hip hop fans. They want to hear about hip hop. Today, I cover a lot of topics like industry in general, R&B, pop,
Yeah.
and indie. But for about 2 years, it was hip hop only, and that was like really important because I needed to build a reputation as someone who knows a lot about one thing. So that was important. And then the agency comes along, and they're able to offer me like quick connections to places like Skillshare or Audible. So that was really important as well
So they
because
just
that,
emailed you, or, like, we saw your channel, we'd love to work with you.
yeah, there was, I think it's agencies have a bad rap on YouTube, but this is like the good agency. I love working with them. They only work with like educational or technical channels, so it's really based on like teaching or thoughtfulness in general, like philosophical content, whatever. So that was, welcoming that it's not like full screen where you get signed and then you're in there with like 17,000 other channels just having your ad revenue taken away. They don't take my ad revenue. And it's a very fair and freeing setup with them. So that was really useful that I was able to get that. I mean, it's small money at first from sponsorships. People think, you're getting like checks for 10 grand every week, but when you're a small channel, even the extra 500, $700 can help a lot. So that was something that allowed me to like not have to have two jobs at the same time anymore. And I could like focus more on videos and have a schedule. I also didn't have a schedule before blowing up. Uh, I was doing like one video every 3 weeks if I could. But then after the viral video, I decided to stick myself or hold myself to like two videos a month every other Thursday. So that was really helpful too.
So when did you when did you quit your jobs? And I'm guessing it was a
So
gradual transition, or did you just?
it was a very gradual transition. It took about a year. I had the viral video. I was working two jobs, one as like a graphic design intern. I wasn't really doing anything important at this place. I was making some money off that. And I was also like bike courier, bike delivery,
Yeah.
doing like Uber Eats on my bicycle. So I was able to not do the graphic design anymore. I kept doing the delivery, making a little more money off that. And then after 6 months, I stopped that. I had another job as a janitor. I was doing cleaning for public high schools in the city where I was living. And I stopped doing that around a year ago. Around a year ago today, I stopped doing that. And I haven't had to have a full time job since then, or any kind of job except YouTube. YouTube has just been taking up all my time for the last year.
Yeah. And would you say, because a lot of people might think like, oh, great, now you just do nothing, but like what? I'm sure you're still doing a lot of work, and what is kind of filling up your workload nowadays that you're a full-time creator, I'll say.
Um, well, there's a lot of like, I don't want to say market research, but it kind of is market research, like just strategizing to see what to cover next. Like that does take up a lot more time than people would think. And I also work with an editor now, but not for like motion graphics, more for like footage and color grading, audio processing, whatever. And so just managing that person takes time. like, and what else? I mean, I spend a lot of time writing. I've been spending a lot of time doing set design. My set is behind me over here. And in general, I'm just trying to make more videos. So 2 videos a month isn't sustainable if you're not going to have a side job. So I have to do like 3 to 5 now. I'm hoping to hit 5 to 6 every month consistently by February. So there's a lot of like planning and research that goes into that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how, like, so you're gradually weaning off of, you gradually left the jobs, and then so now you're gradually expanding and putting more effort and thought into this, whether that's some people hire help or like get an editor or start expanding into a team, and then like spending more time writing and researching. Because the one thing that's different about your channel, which I think is really cool, is like a channel like mine, I just like blast out as much helpful stuff as possible, but it's more specific things. Like each video might only get a couple thousand views. And what's cool about yours is that you're able to swing for videos that get like 100,000 plus views, and you're only making a couple a month. Like your whole channel has less than 100 videos, but yet you still managed to get almost 300,000 subscribers so far, which I think is a really good ratio. Like you're saying, your viewers are kind of heavy hitting in a way. How do you go about choosing? Like, how do you know what's gonna hit? Have you developed this like sixth sense?
Kind of, yeah. It's a lot of what I do at this point is like it's hard to get help with it because it's like this subconscious feeling and like intuition about what I should and shouldn't do. And it kind of like works. I just go with it most of the time and it ends up working out. A lot of the time I'm looking at Reddit, like hip hop heads, and just like every week there's like one or two articles, and they're usually think pieces, and they're going to get like 2,000 comments, and people are just going to have a huge opinion about it. One of the things I'm planning to work on right now is hip hop's anti-vax problem, because there was an expose of all the rappers that don't believe in vaccines a couple days ago uploaded to that subreddit, and it got like 900 comments of people just discussing the ins and outs of celebrities not being into vaccines. So I'm going to cover that, and hopefully I'll find like a doctor on YouTube to talk to for a collab or something, an interview. So that's the sort of stuff like I'll cover. Lil Wayne recently sold all of his music to a corporation for like $100 million, so I'll cover that too. Talk about how Lil Wayne sold out, whatever. um, when Chance the Rapper got sued by his manager for firing him before his album came out so he didn't have to pay him for working on it, that was something I covered that ended up getting more than 500,000 views in like 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
it's that sort of stuff that I can like tell. And then there's other stuff that I won't cover because I think like it's either not a thoughtful enough topic, like some rapper going to rehab. I'm not really interested in that. I'm more interested in like topics that can either last and like people can keep coming back to them and being like, oh, I learned something from this even like 2 years from now, or it's something that just teaches you not just about the incident but like about the greater context of the incident within the music industry. So that's the sort of stuff that like Lil Wayne selling his music or Chance the Rapper getting sued by his manager, that like matters outside of the story too.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because like you might, like nobody cares about 3 years ago's gossip, like so and so got into a fight or got arrested. Like that might be irrelevant in a couple years, but it is really interesting to see the inside of how the industry is changing, especially like you got like TikTok and music and how those two are like making things go viral together. There's the industry is constantly changing, and even someone like myself who, I mean, I'm very into music as well, but even someone who might not care about who the latest and greatest chart topping like song is might still be interested in like marketing, modern marketing, or what's changing in the industry, or the business behind it, or shady deals or things to avoid. So that's interesting that you're like the one thing I tell people who want to start a channel too is like, what is the community that's tapping into? Like you said, the Reddit hip hop heads. I've seen that subreddit before. It's a pretty huge subreddit. So it's not like you created this community of people who care.
Yeah,
It's like it was there, and you're providing value for them and then
that's
leveraging it more.
that's actually really important. Yeah. I knew when starting out in this niche of like hip hop and music industry in general, there are people that care about this specific like theme of topics. There are people that watch every one of my videos, and there aren't any of my videos that like alienate them. Like if I uploaded a video about I don't know, like Katy Perry's new album, like no one none of my subscribers are going to watch that because they've come to expect that what I say will usually apply to them. And that's how I kind of consistently can get I would say like baseline, I know how to get 100,000 views on a video. Like I can come up with a topic and say, okay, this will get 100,000. And I do make videos that I know won't get 100,000 views. And I'm okay with that because it's still fun and there are still enough dedicated fans to where like the sponsorship won't fail or, it won't get 8,000 views. But I try to kind of like balance that mix of like stuff I'm really interested in and I know like 20% of my subscribers might be interested in but the rest won't, but it is like important to be able to have that base that is like gonna come back, or the people that you can appeal to.
Yeah, not to. It's like a snowball effect on YouTube, and not to alienate them, which sometimes I think I do. But so like for a video, like you said, sometimes you'll make a more experimental video, maybe it won't, but for a video that does go really viral, like the fall of Chance the Rapper, it's got 500,000 views in a week or two. Where, because that's so, that's more people than are subscribed to your channel. In the analytics, where is that coming from when you see like, for someone wondering out there, like where these viral views are coming from? Is it suggested? Is something else happening?
I would tell you, I would look and I would tell you like the breakdown, but I know already for the last year and a half, or really as long as I can remember, I don't get views from suggested. I don't get views from external sources. And I don't know if this is the case for everybody, but I think at this point, even subscriptions are not that important. What you want is you want it to hit the homepage. I would say I get a lot of views from my subscribers. Even on a great month, I might get like 30% of my views are coming from my subscribers. And you might think like that's a bad number. Like someone who doesn't have a channel might think like, oh, that's like not a lot. Do your subscribers not care? Like, is your channel not healthy? But that's a high amount. Like in my agency, that's a high amount. And it's just like homepage is everything. Even when I go on YouTube, I don't check my subscriptions anymore because I kind of like have too many. I'm not gonna like watch the new unbox therapy video, even though I subscribed to him like 4 years ago. I go on the homepage and the homepage knows most of the time what I'm interested in. And I think that's the case for me too. Like on the Chance the Rapper video, I can tell you how many of the views came from the homepage real quick, but I'm guessing like it's probably 80% or more, probably 90%.
Yeah. I mean, what you're saying is 30% is really high. Like on my channel, especially because I've had my channel for a long time now, like I have a similar ratio. It's like 80/20, and I think it's 80/20 for almost like
Yeah.
any channel.
Yeah.
And I also agree with you. Despite that, I wouldn't want it to be this way. I think YouTube is moving away from subscriber count and subscriber feeds, because actually it used to be the first thing that popped up on your homepage.
Yep.
Now the first thing that pops up is suggested. And to be
Yep.
honest, even as a viewer, like I would it's almost like they know better than what you know. And then you have these documentaries on Netflix and stuff like about how technology evil and stuff, which it probably is, but they, in a way, like I'd rather just the recommended of what I have actually been watching than what I thought I would like and subscribe to. It's ironic that it's less accurate.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I think it's fine because I've subscribed to channels and like, their niche might change or they might get worse or they might get stagnant. And I'm not going to watch that anymore, but I'm also not going to like go in and clear my subscriber or my subscription list all the time. Like I'm okay with the way it's moved to, because I also think it's now deceptive that there are people who are making a lot of money with a low subscriber count, and there are people who are making not a lot of money with a very high subscriber count. And so it doesn't really mean that much anymore. And especially because YouTube hides it now and like takes it down to the decimal. And you're not allowed to see people's like true subscriber counts. Like Social Blade doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah,
But yeah,
they've
so
started rounding.
my current traffic source types are
Is this for your overall month?
yes, it is. I don't know if that's going to focus, but
It's
you might be
yeah.
able to see 90% from browse features, which is the homepage. Suggested videos is 2%, and YouTube search is 3%. That's probably higher for you. But
Yeah.
that's my channel. That's over 1.5 million views this month. And that's what it looks like. It's 90% from the homepage. So
Yeah, and I'd assume that since you're making longer style videos too, that your watch time is pretty high. So, the other thing, I think this is getting to a lot of interesting topics. Like, first of all, what's more important? subscribers or views. People always ask me this, and I kind of have to lean towards views. Like if you have 0 subscribers but you're consistently getting millions of views, it's impossible that one would happen without the other. But you'd rather have a lot of views than a lot of subscribers, honestly.
I mean, I views are so much more important. I know a guy who makes a lot of videos. Like he'll make like multiple times per week. He uploads 2 times a day. Um, Especially during like he's a tech YouTuber, so during like important weeks and stuff, he's uploading a lot, and he only has 200,000 subscribers, but he is making like a lot more money than I am, and it's probably like, he's getting more views because he's uploading more videos, and his subscription ratio is probably lower than mine because people will like search for what he's talking about and then click off after without subscribing. But he's making a lot of money with a fifth of a million subscribers, probably making more money than a lot of people with a million subscribers. So
Yeah, and my channel, it's just interesting comparing how different there's different like types of content that can succeed. Like my channel is 50% search, which
mm,
is great in some ways because I don't really need to rely on subscribers. It's just like coming in from the search. That's just the way that I've built my catalog of videos. But yeah, I'm not gonna put up a video and it'll be rare that I'll put up a video and it gets 100,000 or 500,000 views right away. So it's really I think it's cool between mine and your channel, the two different kinds of paths that still can be successful. But let's talk about monetization because we actually are getting into that a little bit. How do you get the as someone who's like building off of suggested and homepage content and especially music content, like I'm assuming a lot of your stuff gets copyrighted for using copyrighted music or imagery or whatever. How do you manage to get the full squeeze of that juice so that you're able to make a living? Because it's not easy. You're not just automatically making millions of dollars once you hit 100,000 subscribers.
yeah, so it's definitely not easy. It's become a lot easier in the last 6 months. I don't know why, but stuff has just started to click, and I think I'm just passing some sort of invisible threshold where I can now like make more off this. But originally, it was very hard, even with like 150,000 subscribers or like 200,000 subscribers. It was hard. But I would say you want like a breakdown, like a percentage breakdown of where stuff is coming from.
You don't have to get. I mean, you don't have to get exact, but like, so like for myself personally, I sell my digital products on my website.
Mhm.
I get the ad revenue because my content's pretty like ad friendly, and I'm putting out a lot of videos that are getting search traffic. I sometimes work with sponsors, but like for your channel, I'm wondering like, is ad revenue harder because you get monetized a lot? Is because I'm just wondering what your approach is as that type of YouTuber because it might be different for everyone.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not sure if I don't think you're selling products or courses and stuff.
I don't sell any courses. I am doing, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I think I'm allowed to say it. I am doing a Skillshare class next month. So I'll be putting that out, and it's going to be like After Effects motion graphics. So hopefully that will be another revenue stream, but that's not here yet. Mainly sponsors pay the bills. Sponsors are, I think they're great. I love working with the sponsors that I work with, but obviously there are some sketchy sponsors who don't pay, but I've never had that experience. So sponsors are great. They probably usually they'll bring in like 70% of all the revenues coming from the sponsors, and do like two or three per month. And in the past, there hasn't been a lot of I haven't been able to rely on ad revenue. I've made viral videos in the past, especially like earlier this year. I had 3 viral videos that now have like a million views or so. And then earlier last year, I had like 2 or 3 as well that have like a million, 1.1, 1.2 million views now. So those I don't see any money from. One of them, I have like half the rights to the revenue. So I get like, $40 a month off it or something. So
Why do
like
you have
what,
half the rights?
because they'll like these music labels will claim it and they can either take all your money or be generous and take half your money for like a 25-second clip or something of a song. I'm talking about like how they made the beat, um, whatever sample they use. They're like, fuck you, you can't have any of it. So that's the situation usually. Like they're gonna take all or half, and all is most common, but sometimes they'll let you have half. Some of them are demonetized entirely, like no one's making any money off those. I'm getting subscribers, but it's like, I mean, I need money to live.
Yeah.
So the ad revenue is not something I used to be able to rely on. My CPAs have gone up a lot over the last year. So even like the
What's
lower
that for
view,
anyone wondering?
yeah. So CPA would be like how
I
many
think you mean,
dollars will I
isn't it
make?
CPM?
CPM, yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry,
CPA
CPA.
is the certified public accountant.
No,
Close.
CPA would be cost per acquisition for
Okay, yeah,
sponsors.
yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So
There are
CPM,
so many acronyms.
there, yeah, I don't, I don't like them. But anyway, so CPA would be, or CPM is how many dollars I'll make per thousand views that are monetized. Not all views are monetized, but my CPM went from like 250, 350 to like up to $6 to $9. So it's like doubling or tripling. My camera is about to die. I'm gonna plug it in.
Yeah, go for it. Well, I think that's just like I've noticed a rise in some of that too, and I think one it's just an overall trend of ad money flowing in to digital spaces versus um like traditional spaces. And there's also I do feel like YouTube is kind of making I'll give you a second actually. I'll just cut this.
Yo, I'm back.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm back.
Whatever, we'll just continue. I do feel like YouTube is kind of in some ways like what they did. Remember they said they're no longer going to monetize channels under a certain threshold, and then also now they're like we're still going to monetize them, but they're not going to get it. I do
Yeah.
feel like the larger your channel gets, I think advertisers are willing to pay more to be on a channel with like 250,000 plus and then 500,000 plus, just like an arbitrary denomination. But I also just feel like it's getting more competitive. There's more people trying to buy ads on digital content, and so larger creators are able to kind of reap some of that benefit. Um, so I wanted to ask you though about like fair use. Doesn't any of the stuff do you ever try to like look into fair use, or have you looked into that, or it's a
So
confusing topic?
I can't, yeah. So like if I'm making a documentary about like Jay Dilla, he's famous hip hop producer. He made like a million beats and everyone loves him. So I'm talking about his beats, right? I want to talk about the synths he used, the drums he used, how he got them, how he composes it, the rhythm, whatever. So I'm gonna want to have the beat in the video. And I can by like American copyright law. I can if I'm discussing the beat, I'm allowed to use the beat as a point of reference for the viewer. But YouTube doesn't understand. They understand it. To they don't have a mechanism to like allow that, because on the other side there's people who are going to want to use the beat to re-upload and like make a quick buck off people who are searching for it.
Yeah.
So that's what YouTube kind of assumes you're doing, and they're going to block it and take your money or not allow you to put the video up at all. So I can do a claim, or I can do like a dispute and say, hey, like, I'm allowed to do this. This is fair use, but I have to wait a month, and it's up to the discretion of the copyright holder, which it really shouldn't be, because it's fair use. It's not up to the discretion of the copyright holder. It's an American federal law. It's pretty complicated. It's very frustrating. And I would say that my videos are definitely not as good as I want them to be, because I can't have this freedom to use music as a reference or use video as a reference, because it's just an extremely long and ultimately usually fruitless process to try and dispute this stuff.
Yeah, I do think the world would be a better place if nobody had to use copyright free music.
Yeah,
Like
it's not
nobody
fun.
likes copy. Sorry to all the copyright free music creators out there. There's some decent stuff. And to the sponsors of copyright free music stuff that I've worked with, shout out to you guys. But the world needs real music.
Yeah, it does. It's
Maybe
not
that's
good.
a bad distinction to call it not real music.
I mean,
There
it's like
seems to be something that is not.
they never mix it properly. It's always mixed like it's ready to be used in a car commercial or something. I'm just like, I can't use this, dude.
I definitely made someone mad there, but sorry. um, so I have a question though. So because I don't work with, I mean, I work with a fair share of brands and sponsors, but I limit it to like a couple times a year. It'll be a good opportunity because most of the time I'm just busy doing my own stuff or whatever, and it's not my main thing that I look for to like sustain. So when you work with a sponsor, this is from the perspective of someone listening, maybe someone who wants to start a channel or is like a just curious what goes on behind the curtains. Like first of all, like why is a sponsor paying you to mention their name in the beginning of a video? Like what does it have to do with them? Like what did they look for a successful campaign? Like why do they keep coming back to you in the first place? Are they just throwing their money away, or how is this relationship working?
So basically, how we measure it is CPA, which is the term I was using before instead
Yeah.
of CPM. So CPA is cost per acquisition. If they're going to write me a check before the video goes up. So it's not like if the video doesn't do well, I still get paid. So basically, they write me the check, estimating based on my views and subscribers and demographics how many signups they'll get. So that's the CPA. They want it to be as low as possible because if it costs you like $15 to sign up for Curiosity Stream, they're going to assume that I'm going to get 15 times X, and then they'll give me that amount. And if it does better, they'll give me more next time. If it does worse, they'll give me less next time. And so they're just really trying to like even out their marketing money. If they get, you know, 15 times 40 is, I don't know, like 1200 or something like
It's
that.
yeah,
So they're hoping to make,
it's
40
600, I
signups,
think.
600, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Um, so, it's kind of like it's just basic math. Like they're hedging their bets that I'm going to be profitable for them. And
So so they're hoping that people who watch your video will click on the link, sign up for their thing, so everyone wins. Like they're paying you, but they're able to get something that will be profitable for them, or signups.
yeah, and they're also hoping to like create return customers and all that as well.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I think a lot of people see ads on YouTube or see. I think it's become like an assumption, like, all right, we'll skip the ad, or this, like, it's just ads are there, and we think that YouTubers make money, but why does it actually work at the end of the day? It's like, like, why are people paying for someone to watch an ad? So I think that's
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, it does require people have to sign up. Like they're not going to want to work with me if everyone collectively decides like, yo, we hate these ads and we're never clicking on these again. But luckily, like my viewers they understand that first of all. And I also don't endorse like terrible products. I really work with like a very small amount of sponsors. I think like at any given time, my rotation might be like 3 companies. So I'm not willing to like experiment with like life insurance companies
Yeah.
or really sketchy mobile games or something like that, just because people wouldn't take it seriously anymore at all.
Yeah, it is a side of the business, and you're you're talking about companies that actually might have some use for some people, and so they actually do convert. I think that's important because I get emails all the time too, like review XYZ product from X country, and I used to, what I used to get a lot more of is like, it doesn't happen anymore, but back in the day, um the the agencies were like rampant. I'd get an email every 2 weeks to try to sign up to an agency. I never ended up going with it, but it's interesting that there are like small type of independent label. I think especially now in 2020 with creators and content creation being such a bigger industry, that now there probably is some great little pockets and companies that actually do have connections and can connect you with brands and manage stuff for you. So what is your plan then so now you're kind of like running, it's like smooth small business time. I mean, this year has been crazy with all this stuff. So, I mean, if you're surviving now, that's pretty good too. How are you planning to, like, what are you planning to do to keep this going for the next, are you trying to keep this going for the next couple of years? Is it,
Yeah, I think I want to hire help. Like I do a lot. There's a lot of times when I turn my bedroom into a set and then I like sleep in the basement on the couch or something because like I was working all night. It's like 3 in the morning. I'm not gonna take the set down. I gotta film again tomorrow. So that kind of stuff, like I don't really necessarily want to do that forever. I'm also interested in being more mobile. Like I want to travel more and not really have too much of a routine. So I'm trying to like get a team of people who can like help me do what I'm doing and increase the output at the same time, make more money. But my number one goal is to like start a second channel, just because I'm interested in like not self-improvement, but like self-examination a lot. And I've been enjoying a lot of content that revolves around that. And I want to get into that niche a little bit and like, be making videos with um, people who are, trying to like really become better and more like centered individuals. Because I think like after the last year, I'm not really too worried about like business at this point. Like I'd rather become a more happy and like relaxed person because it's been stressful. So that's something I want to like explore is maybe like starting a second channel where I can do like important thinking, I guess, and talk about like more abstract stuff with people who appreciate their work.
Yeah, like
Um,
philosophical type of stuff.
Pretty much, yeah, without making it like super nerdy.
Yeah. What are some channels that you've been enjoying?
I think, well, I've been watching a lot of like Sneeko. And Sneeko's like also a personal friend of mine, but I want to do something similar to what he's doing, but I don't want it to be as edgy, I guess. He's been like anti-masker and stuff lately, so I haven't been a big fan of that.
So now, what is the difference between or like why would you want to start a second channel? What is going on in your strategy or like you'd want to separate the two?
I think people that watch Volksgeist, I have experimented with like lifestyle work or like personal work before, and it has done well, but it still has to be connected to music. So I'm thinking like if I just start a new project, I can disconnect from music entirely. And there will be people that convert over to that because they appreciate what I say and will want to listen to what I have to say about other topics. But there are people who just like want to hear about music or hip hop, whatever, like, and they're not really too interested in like my internal monologue. So
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's one. I might say just throw it all in one, but I could see how it would ruin your like it would alienate people. So these are some of the questions that I think a lot of people, if you're looking to become a creator, like these things happen down the line and you have to from the beginning of our conversation, like you said, first thing you thought of was like, how do I find a niche? How do I build authority in one topic that I think once you do build authority in one topic, you can leverage it out. Like my last guest, Jack Butcher, that's one thing he specifically talked about was instead of trying to do everything at once, become really good at one thing, and then you can leverage it out to other things in phases. Um, I mean, now that I did the episode with him, I'm seeing so many concepts that are repeating. Like another thing you did was permissionless apprenticeship for the Fantano thing, where you went out and made a really valuable, helpful piece of content for this person who already was established. They didn't have to, but they happened to retweet it, happened to share it. And there's all types of opportunities that people could do. Like, let's say there's someone who is a teenager and they're looking for some editing work and they're really good at Photoshop and making thumbnails. And they say, hey, Philip, I made you better thumbnails for the past 2 videos of yours. And they actually did. Like, sometimes they might not. And they're like, if you want me to keep making all your thumbnails, like, let's just do like 3 thumbnails a month for X amount. Like, there's cool ideas. There's so many different like side hustler job opportunity in this content creation space, I think. But I think that's cool that, yeah, once you get the business taken care of, you gotta be happy at the end of the day.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I think like if someone did that thumbnail thing for me, I would absolutely like if it was good work, they would be working for me as long as they wanted to. And I think like someone might be just, you might be discouraged and be like, "Oh, he's never going to see that." I would absolutely see that. Like, I think a lot of people would see it and
Like,
take you up on the
just
opportunity,
message you on Twitter or something, or Instagram or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it would 100% work out for that person if they did it.
Yeah. Not
They
that you're
pulled it off.
specifically looking, but I was just throwing out ideas.
Yeah,
But
just
but
in
yeah,
general, like that would be welcome.
yeah, I think a lot of people think it's so hard to reach YouTubers who have more than 10,000 or 50,000 subscribers, but it probably is hard to reach some who are getting like tens of millions or like lots and lots of views and messages. But honestly, if anyone DMs me, or I'm sure if anyone DMs you, like I see all my DMs and I'm very, very, very easy to reach. So, and
Yeah.
people always
Yep.
say I'm so shocked that you responded. I'm like, this is my job.
Yep. I get like a few DMs a day. I read all of them. I don't respond to all of them because sometimes it's like really stupid questions. Like, or it'll be like, what was the fourth song in your 2018 expose on the work of Tyler, the creator? Like, I am not going back to that video project file just for you to like have. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Like, I get so many of those requests. I thought about doing like a paywall playlist. You pay like $3 and you can see all the songs I've used. Because like, I'm not gonna go back and drag all the files out of my hard drive from like 2 years ago and go through it for people. But I would do it if there were like a couple bucks in the on the table.
Love hate relationship. Um, but yeah, we've talked a lot about like the business side of YouTube and whatnot, but kind of wrapping up the interview. Um, like you said, you're interested in more examinative stuff in the future. I already did kind of ask you what you're planning to do, but what else has been? Because I'm sure you're, I'm sure you're not always waking up every day. I mean, maybe you are, but like only interested in music. Is there any new hobbies and interests that have been flourishing for you as you've gotten older, or that you've really taken a liking to, like philosophical stuff, or anything you're reading or interested in that you find?
Well, I've been less into politics because I was so into politics for a long time that it was taking away from like me actually becoming a better person because I was so concerned with like abstract political concepts. Like if we don't fix the wealth gap, what are we going to do? I'm like, oh, let's just go to work and like make more money. I don't know. So I tried to become a little more grounded and like read less political philosophy. But for a long time, that was like my main thing was reading about like political philosophy and like wealth in America and all this stuff. But like lately, I've been getting into like cameras. I have like I bought some film cameras. I've been doing that a lot. Like getting film developed is really fun. So that's like something I've been doing just to not be making content, but still be like, I don't know, making something.
Yeah.
Um, what else? I've been like getting into cinematography a little bit. I'm trying to learn more about like lighting and cameras. Um, and then I guess like generally trying to learn more about the world, like other cultures, other countries' politics, other countries' histories and stuff. So I've been reading some books about like Southeast Asia and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's really cool.
it's like
Well, yeah, you got a nice setup right now. You said it's a Sony A7S.
A7S3. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, they're kind of hard to come by right now, but I got one.
But yeah, it's you definitely have a nice webcam setup there, and yeah, leave it to, I think it's young people's job to be really into like political philosophy and revolutionary stuff. Young people's job, and then really old people's job. But yeah,
Yep.
I think there's it's definitely been a very, very hectic year, and definitely can I'm for one would be interested in politics becoming more boring for the next 4 years,
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Like
so we
it's
could
been a
focus on other stuff.
it's been a lot. I'm trying to like just become like a human being and live every day just like my own life instead of being worried about like what Donald Trump is doing. I don't really want to care anymore.
Yeah. So lastly though, one thing we didn't even touch on is like video editing and editing softwares before we wrap up. Like you you use, I didn't even get into this, but like your videos are pretty polished, not lots of cool graphics, titles and stuff. Are you mostly working in After Effects or
It's
Photoshop, Premiere?
it's really all After Effects. I use After Effects like I would use Photoshop most of the time too. If you sent me into Photoshop, I wouldn't know what to do. Like I don't know the first thing. It's really just all like After Effects for me. And then I obviously take the different compositions and I render them out in Media Encoder and then I put them in the Premiere timeline because you can't like make a whole video in After Effects.
And did you just basically learn After Effects on your own on YouTube and stuff?
Yeah, it was all YouTube. I'd never taken like a media class at college or anything like that. I was doing like environmental studies in college, so
That's really cool. So you've been able to kind of make a career out of self-interest and well, begin a hopefully long career out of like self-interest and self-taught stuff, and you
yeah.
found some success in it. But yeah, anyone who is interested in checking out Philip's channel, it's called Volksgeist on YouTube, and then you can find all his links there. That's what is it? It's a German word, right? Like it's like Volkswagen. It means
It's like it's more like zeitgeist, which is a word like a lot of people know.
Yeah, Volk is like the folk, the people, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
And
then
then
Geist is like
Geist is the spirit,
the
right?
spirit, like the driving force. So it's like, I mean, Zeitgeist is like, what did people like this year? Volksgeist is like, what do people like? I guess it's kind of means the same thing as
Yeah.
Zeitgeist.
So yeah, that's I'll leave all the links, but that's via VOLKSGEIST on YouTube. And if you want to hit us up, if anything you found was interesting, feel free to shoot us a message. We're really easy to get a hold of.
Thanks for having me. This is like really fun.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, you can check out the rest of my episodes on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, everywhere at the Justin Odisho podcast. If you enjoyed, definitely leave a 5-star rating on iTunes or simply reach out to me and Philip, send us a message or elaborate on something that you found useful or got any questions for us. Feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.